Did you get your human design chart without knowing your exact time of birth? Well, let's talk about that. This video is going to be helpful for you if you are somebody who is new or has been playing with human design for a while and you have never known your exact time of birth and you didn't know if it's that important, or if you're somebody who is looking up the charts of loved ones or clients or your best friend and your co-workers and you're trying to better understand other people and you don't have their exact time of birth. There is at least one book that I read about 9 years ago. I've been playing with human design for about 9 years. If we haven't met, I'm Carolyn Southwell. Hi. And unfortunately, in this book that is read by so many newbies, it said if you don't know your exact time of birth, just guess, just put in midday. I kind of wish I could grab this person and shake them by the shoulders and go, what were you thinking? The planets are always moving. I have seen a chart change from a projector to a manifestor to a reflector and back to a projector all in one day. Human design is a fascinating system, but if you don't have the correct chart for you, I have seen people be completely led astray because they didn't have the correct time of birth and they thought they were this type and it turned out they were this type. And that's on a broader scale. That's type. There's all these smaller granule things that are changing all the time. Now, not all of us are in a position that we can get our exact time of birth, and that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to write human design off altogether. If you have tried everything, if you don't have any older family members who have any stories around your birth, if you don't have any hospital records of any description or any written records, if you don't have your time of birth on a birth certificate, if you don't have any of those things, you can work with somebody to narrow it down if you know yourself well enough. I did this with a girlfriend in a coffee shop just the other day. This is why this topic has come to life for me again, because she had, independent of me, got into human design. And then when I found out she was into it, I was delighted that somebody in my corner of the world, that we could sit and have coffee and talk about human design. However, the chart software that she had used said, if you don't know your exact time of birth, just guess. This is unethical. Please, if you're a human design coach, do not do this. We need to understand the importance of having the exact time of birth. And if there's no way to get the exact time of birth, that we realize, one, we're never going to get a perfect chart. And two, we really should prioritize working out how to narrow down the period of time so that we can work out what is the most likely chart and get curious about discovering through our life and our human design experiment what is correct. So when I worked with my friend and asked her some questions around, well, are you more like this or are you more like this? Her husband was sitting with her. So I used him as a reality check. Is she more like this or is she more like that? And on the things that they were very firm, yes, I'm definitely like this, we were able to tweak and get closer and closer to the likely time. But I told her, you have to just get curious. You have to get curious about which feels more true and which you play out in your life. If you go into human design thinking that your chart is this, but it is in fact this, it can do more harm than good. This is why it makes me extremely cranky when I hear or see or read people saying, just guess. If you have no way of knowing, then it is better to know that you have a guessed chart, a narrowed in chart, and only work with the things that stay really stable and consistent. But it's important to know that your chart is not accurate. I'll give you another example. My dad has no interest in human design. He has zero idea, and we have no way of being able to know his time of birth. When I look up every hour of the day across an entire day, the day he was born, across the entire day, everyone born in that 24-hour period was an emotional generator, and all of the same centers stayed defined, right? Yes, the profile changes. Yes, the moon changes. Those are always going to change for all of us within the 24 hours of our birthday. But there is all this information that stays stable for him, which means I can use that to better understand my dad and improve my relationship with my dad. You might be fortunate and that might be true for you, and you can go and look at that. You can do it yourself, or you can do that together with somebody like me. And it's just so, like, I just really wanted to highlight in this video how damn important it is for us to be clear that a guess and then assuming that the chart you have based on the guess is correct is not an okay way to operate in this industry. So if you're a human design coach, please take that as a tap on the shoulder to work out a different way to serve your clients if you've been guessing. And if you are somebody who had guessed because you didn't have all the right information, now you know. It is really important to find your time of birth if you at all can, if it is at all possible. If that's not possible, find a way to narrow it down. If that's not possible, work with somebody like myself or somebody else that you really trust who knows what they're doing to ask you a series of questions in a session and narrow it down that way. And if all else fails, look up across the entire range of the day and see if it stays stable. Human design is only as good as the chart that you have for you. Let's make it as accurate as possible. Bye for now.